Hey there, Winnie Anderson here. And today is a magical day, and not just because it is Sherlock Holmes' birthday, a huge day for me, practically a holiday at my house. Today is also Epiphany, and that means that it is the final day of the 12 days of Christmas. This in the Christian faith is the day that is celebrated as the day that the three wise men came to the manger, right? Often referred to as Little Christmas or Three Kings Day, that sort of thing. And that concept of an epiphany is much more than a feast day in a particular faith. It has come to be known and referred to as a blinding flash of insight. That giant aha that you have, the V8 moment where you hit yourself in the forehead, that moment when you just have this powerful realization about something. We all love that, and we all want to have more of them. And I was just thinking about the whole concept of epiphany, and I had my own epiphany. I realized that really that's what we need to help our prospects, our clients have. They are hiring us to help them have epiphanies. For us to attract clients, delight them, and then to retain them requires us helping them have these blinding flashes of insight, these major ahas, the giant realization that your team, your solution is the right one for them. So how do you uh, help your prospects? I'm going to refer to folks as your buyers. That will kind of incorporate your potential buyers as well as your actual clients. So we'll just call them buyers for ease of conversation here. How do you inject that kind of power into your message and into your content in order to create these powerful ahas on the part of your buyers? I'm going to share with you how to do that, but I'm going to first have a sip because I've been talking a lot today. And of course, as I am chatting here, using the fabulous, I'm stuck in my little groove here. I'm using the fabulous StreamYard app, so you may hear, or you may see while I'm speaking, you might see a link that you can click to give StreamYard permission to see your profile. That's all you're doing. It's nothing weird. You're just giving them permission to read your picture, your name, image, and likeness. So when I'm looking at my StreamYard dashboard and you come in and you comment, I can actually see your name rather than Facebook member. So it just lets me have a more engaging experience with you. So you don't need to do that if the video is over by the time you come in here. You can just go ahead and share your comments. And of course, please do that. Share your thoughts, ask questions, make comments. You know, I always circle back and respond to those questions that you might have. All right, so let's go ahead and let's dive in here. First of all, as I said, an epiphany is that blinding flash of insight, right? The whole concept comes from the star that the wise men followed that landed over top of the manger scene. And we have this blinding flash of insight, and that's referred to as an epiphany. So how do you help your buyers have these epiphanies? And of course, I have notes on my other monitor. I have some notes below, so I'll be moving my head all around here, and I'm looking at my camera with my StreamYard dashboard in front of me. So you can do that in one very big, powerful way. There are several steps. I'm going to share them with you. But the cherry on this sundae is that you have got to embrace and communicate very clearly your point of view. Your point of view is made up of your beliefs, your values, your approach. And that all combines to form your unique message. You must embrace that and share it powerfully, loudly, boldly. I'm itchy today. Because if you don't, you come across as, just average. Nobody wants to work with average. Somebody once asked me, can I just be good enough? Isn't good enough good enough? No, it's not. Not if you want to charge a premium rate for the transformation that you provide, not if you really do provide an outstanding experience. There's a lot of average out there. And if you are average, I'm sorry, you're going to have to challenge yourself to become outstanding. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck competing on price, which is where nobody wants to be. And again, frankly, nobody wants to work with somebody who's average. We want to work with experts. So you have to communicate your message, in a powerful way. That's the ground floor ticket to the dance in order to begin to inspire epiphanies in your audience, in your readers, and ideally your buyers. So your job is to get their attention, number one. You're going to do that by having a compelling headline, a title, wherever you happen to be is the language that you want to use, but really you're talking about in a piece of content. Often it's the headline, the title of your video, that sort of thing. That is going to grab people's attention and get them to stop. Grabbing attention is the number one job of your content, because people are in a hurry. There's a lot of content out there. There's a lot of material out there. So that's why if you can put a lot of energy into coming up with a compelling headline, I don't always nail it, to be honest with you. Ideally, what I do when I'm working on a headline or a title is I will do a big brain dump, a brainstorm, and I will come up with anywhere from, depends on how well my brain's working that day, 10 to as many as 50. Yes, I'm not kidding. Headlines or titles. And the best one is in there somewhere. So when you're coming up with a compelling title or headline, of course, you're working within a character count of the platform that you are working with, and you want it to show up inside of Google and the search engines. So you've got a limited number of characters that will fit in here. When I have to, when I'm creating a headline here, a title for a video, I've got a really narrow, limited number of characters. Otherwise, it truncates. It shows you the ... right? The ellipsis. And nobody wants that. People want to be able to see the entire title. So you want to start with making sure you've got a great headline, a great title. You can do that in a couple of different ways. You can approach it in a couple of different ways. One is by addressing the problem, right? Being right out there with, I have the solution to this problem. You can focus on the outcome that they want, how to get more clients, that sort of thing. It's an outcome that people want, it's transformation. You can talk about the insight that they're looking for. Maybe at a particular time of year, people are searching, like they are now, for trends, for what can I expect in the year to come. So then you want to make sure that you're sharing trends, forecasts. You want to use those key language terms that are going to grab people's attention. So that's one. Then you want to draw people in with a powerful, compelling opening. In the language of copywriting, we refer to this as a lead. It's actually spelled L-E-D-E. And a lead is that opening story. It's the opening paragraph or blurb that starts off whatever is your piece and draws people in. Often, when I was first starting to write, and I still do this today, I write whatever it is I'm writing, and then I will go back and I will start chopping from the top, because I'll often take too long to get into the information. The lead is way too long and it's not compelling at all. So you really want to work on that and make sure that whether it's a video or a piece of written content, that your lead is tight and that it gets as far into the story as you can without losing a lot of the detail, right? People can get it. We often have just too much information in the beginning. So that is, there's some basic tips for you to start the process off. But you also need a format to the content that you're creating. I really do have a formula that I follow for my videos. At least that's where I start off. Sometimes I go off into tangents. And then, of course, you want to have a format, an outline, a structure for your content. Don't get freaked out about it. This kind of thing improves over time. You get more and more skilled as you practice it. You know, how do you get better at writing? You're right. There's really no other answer. How do you get more comfortable on video? You do video. How do you get more comfortable speaking extemporaneously? You talk. You start really working on the actual delivery, and I promise your first is your worst, and you get better from there. Same thing with any piece of content. So you want to make sure one of the great ways to start off in a powerful way, to start drawing people in, because you got to draw them in order to spark the epiphany, is to start off with a very clear, powerful statement of the problem. That will grab their attention, and they're more than likely going to listen or read for the next line. Every line, every piece of every element of your content, the job is to get them to continue consuming that content. There are ways you can do that physically with subheadings, bolding, italics, that sort of thing. There's also the way you can do that verbally, and that's with sort of like seeding in your content, where you might have these transitions where you say, so if you're wondering about blah, 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 well, that's what I'm going to go into next. All right, well, now they're hanging on your every word, right? So in order to spark an epiphany, you've got to have somebody's attention and you've got to draw them along. If you want to really study this, people who are great at this are folks on the morning shows on the big networks, because they will say, how to blah, blah, blah after the break. Well, obviously, you're going to run and come right back, right? You're going to be there after the break so you can hear that, how to blah, blah, blah. So you want to think in terms of those little sound bites, okay? So the next piece then is that you're going to share your unique point of view, and it has to be unique. One of my favorite ways to do this is to be a contrarian. So a contrarian is that person who, I always think of Andy Rooney from 60 Minutes ages ago. I know I'm dating myself, but a contrarian is the person who has an opposite view from something that is the popular opinion. So there is the standard, generally given advice for solving your target audience's problem. Well, I'm going to bet for your audience, that's bogus. There's something way wrong with that. And that's part of what makes your approach, your point of view, completely unique. You spot that is BS and you call BS on it. That's the contrarian piece of this. So you want to make sure that you very clearly state your case. That is going to light that spark in the mind of your target audience, because they're going to go, yeah, I always thought that was bogus, right? They're going to say, I was secretly thinking that very same thing myself, and now you've given voice to it. You've given me the language. So think about what is the generally recommended solution or approach to the problem that you solve. And then what do you think is BS about that? And get out there with it and say that. Or if there's a methodology that people use that you think just doesn't work anymore, or it doesn't work for your audience. And remember, you're not talking to everybody. You're talking to a narrowly defined group of people who are going to buy into and share your point of view, your particular approach. So if you don't tell them what that is, they're never going to know. And the more powerfully and compellingly you can share that, the more they're going to be like, yeah, you're right. I always suspected that. So you need to get comfortable with your own opinion and thinking about this opposite. The generally recommended solution is this. The general advice is that. I think it's really the opposite. I think that this is what you need to do. So you want to think about, how can you figure out what you have a contrarian opinion about? Think about what can you really go on a rant about. I published a rant yesterday afternoon here on Facebook. If you want a link to that, just say rant below and I'll share it with you. And it's a topic that just inflames me. I could go on and I could argue about it probably for hours because it just makes me crazy. So those things that you have strong opinions on, that's probably a contrarian viewpoint. If there's something that you believe that one or probably lots of people believe the opposite, and you could actually get into an argument over that, that's something that you've got a contrarian viewpoint on. And that's the kind of thing that you really do want to share. So next, you want to make sure that you are helping them understand the truth of what you're saying. It's not just that you're contrary. It's that you've really seen, you followed X, you tried that, it didn't work, and here's why. It didn't work because often this is what happens. There's something that you needed before you could take advantage of that generally recommended approach. It's not necessarily that approach is bad. It's right for the right person. But again, your audience is not that person. So you want to make sure that you're giving voice to, yeah, this is right, but it's right for them. It's not right for you. And here's why I believe this is wrong, why it's the wrong advice, right? So, and of course, I'm looking over my notes. I'm going to have a sip first. Another great way to help your audience have powerful epiphanies, which is kind of redundant because an epiphany is powerful. Another way to help them have an epiphany is to help them see that the problem that they're wrestling with could very well be just a symptom of a deeper problem. So if this problem has been chronic, well, it's probably not the problem at the surface. There's a deeper problem that causes this to continue to repeat itself. One example is, when you talk about, I don't have, people tell me I'm working too hard to make every sale. Well, I'll ask them, I'll take them through my sales content audit, and I'll discover that they're missing these key things. Well, that's a chronic problem because you're going to continue to have challenging sales conversations without creating these core pieces, right? So that's what you want to help people recognize, that there's a surface problem. I refer to it as the hair on fire problem because we really feel the pressure of that problem. And yes, we need to solve it, but without addressing the deeper problem, we'll just continue to cycle through it, right? So you can think of it as a chronic injury, if you will. If you don't really address that underlying issue, you're going to continue to have that injury flare up and continue to bother you. So you want to make sure that you then go into the specific solution. Now, the trick here is that you're first going to actually talk about it broadly. So if your specific solution is that you do some kind of investigation, or your specific solution is consulting, right? That's a very broad area, right? I'm a consultant. So the specific solution is consulting of a certain type. Then you get into, once you help them see that it's not that kind of consulting that other people do, it's this kind of consulting, aha, there's the epiphany. And then you talk about your particular methodology and the models that you use within that methodology. You've got a brand name for it, right? So itself is very sexy and desirable when you can talk about your models, and maybe you have visuals that go with those models, and you talk about your methodology in that branded way. Again, things light up for your potential buyer, and they start to recognize this. So what you're doing is you're helping them have that eureka moment, and you're helping them realize that they were wrong or they were going down a wrong direction, and that you're going to save them. You're going to save them from, going over the edge. You're going to help them bounce back from going down the wrong path. Oh, this is what I need, and you're going to help me fix that. So you're helping them recognize that they were going in the wrong direction. That approach, it made sense at the time, but it really wasn't best for them. And here's why. You're really showing them that you have the flashlight and a map, and you're going to guide them along this path. So that's going to help them think, I suspected that. I had a feeling that this was not working. And you've given voice to that. You've put the words together for that. There's actually a structure for that. You want to structure your messages in this way. I have a formula that I use and that I work with my clients on and teach them how to use. It's called PIGS. It's problem, the impact of the problem, the general solution, why that doesn't work, and your specific solution. That is the basic skeleton. I've talked about it in the past. I did a video on it a few weeks ago. If you want a link to that video, just say PIGS below and I'll get you that. But that provides that structure that I was talking about that is so important, because once you get people's attention, you've got to take them through the structure to help them have those big ahas, to have that epiphany. There were also several other ways that you can help prospects have epiphany. First of all, you want to, of course, identify what their pain points actually are. So when you're talking about the problem, then it really is related to the pain they're experiencing, and that you're using the language that they use so they feel like, oh, you get me. You understand that. During this messaging, you're going to share stories, you're going to share insights, case studies, maybe examples. You don't have to go into tons of detail, although you can, depends on the format, right? I don't have loads of time here to go into some lengthy case study, but I could share a sentence and a slight example. And you want to use ones that, of course, are appropriate to what you're trying to inspire, what insight you're trying to inspire into people. When you're working with a client, you want to help them have their own epiphanies, because that's when they're going to buy into your solution more powerfully. So you want to help them come to the conclusion. Yes, being a consultant means I'm going to tell you what I see is wrong, and we're going to, here's the solution that I recommend. People tend to embrace those solutions when you help them come to that solution with them, with you. So there are ways you can do that, and you want to make sure that you are skilled in your profession and helping them have those ahas so they buy into that solution that you're sharing. However, if you are not sharing your unique point of view, you're going to continuously get clients who are then going to resist you. I know that kind of sounds a little wacky, but if a client doesn't fully understand or hasn't fully embraced your methodology of approaching a problem and solving a problem, they're going to resist you all the way. which could mean they end up asking for a refund. Maybe they don't apply or implement the solution that you recommend, and then you don't have a case study, you don't have success stories, you're unable to leverage them to get to the next client or get to even bigger clients. So it's important to remember that epiphanies are often, they feel spontaneous, but you can do these things that plant the seed that lights that spark. I'm mixing my metaphors, that ignites the epiphany in your prospect, in your clients, and actually can even do it in referral partners and help them recommend you to other folks. So it is magic. It feels like magic when you have an epiphany yourself. Really, your potential clients need you to light the spark of their epiphanies, and your buyers need you to help them have epiphanies, so you are attracting, delighting, and then retaining the clients that you serve. That takes great pressure off of you to constantly have to get new clients, because you are serving clients longer at a deeper level. You're making more of an impact for them. They love you all the more. So this has been Winnie Anderson with some tips and ideas on how you can inspire epiphanies in your potential buyers and in your clients. And I'm wishing you a fabulous year ahead with loads of epiphanies and loads of impact on your clients. If you would like some of the links to the videos that I've mentioned or other resources, or you would like some help in solving your own problems and tightening up your message and creating a powerful message that attracts, delights, and retains your clients, let me know. I'm happy to explain how I work with clients. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great night. Bye now.